This is your Google Pixel 6a camera review, complete with the best camera features. Hey friends, I'm Tasia Custode and welcome back to my YouTube channel where I share tech tips, app reviews, and a ton of Google content. And I've been lucky enough to be gifted a Google Pixel 6a to review for you. But don't be fooled. This is not a sponsored video. I'm diving into all the nitty-gritty details of the Pixel 6a camera. We have a lot to cover. Let's go. All right, let's start with the camera system and what we're getting with the Pixel 6a. So here are all the camera specs. We've got a dual camera system on the back of the Pixel 6a. There's a 12.2 megapixel dual pixel OIS wide main camera. OIS is optical image stabilization, by the way. So it's using motors to stabilize the photography process. So it'll detect camera movement and move the lens to counteract that movement. And by the way, this is a very scientific, technical demonstration. Anyway, the main camera has a 77-degree field of view as well as super res zoom. There is also a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera on the back with a 114-degree field of view. So 12 megapixel is actually a downgrade from the 16 megapixel ultra wide found on the 5A. But something important to note is that the sensor is larger, so it allows more light in on ultra wide on the 6A. And in terms of video on the back, we've got 4K video recording capabilities at either 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second. On the front, we've got an 8 megapixel camera. Now, this is the same as we saw on Pixel 5a, but this one has a hair larger field of view at 84 degrees wide as opposed to 83. I told you, just a hair. Now, while an 8 megapixel camera is nothing to write home about, honestly, combined with Google Tensor, it's still gonna produce nicely processed images, which we'll talk about all those camera features a little bit more later. When it comes to video on the front camera, we've got 1080p at 30 frames per second. All right, now that we understand the specs, it's time to get into the camera features, and there are a lot, including a couple of new features, because this is a Pixel powered by Google Tensor, so of course there are new features. And if you want more information on Google Tensor and a complete Google 6a review, I have linked to that video in the description below. And just so you know, every single picture you're going to see today has not had any edits. I've not changed any settings. I really want you to get a feel for if you take the 6a straight out of the box and start snapping photos with it, this is what they're going to look like. So with that said, let's begin with an oldie but a goodie, portrait mode on Pixel 6a. So we all know how portrait mode is a great way to make a smartphone photo look more professional by adding a little blur to the background and enhancing the subject. But I'm really not sure if you all know that I live with actual real life models who agreed to sit for portraits for me. So let's examine the quality of portrait mode on Pixel 6a. Here's a shot of Poppy looking like she has had it up to here with me taking all these photos of her. Initially, it looks like it's doing a pretty good job, but if we get nitpicky and we look closely, we can see a little bit of blur on some of the edges. And if we take a peek at some photos of Dora, one of them looks super crisp, but the other two, we have a bit of edging issues as well. So one's got a bit of blurring on top, and the other had a little more difficult time with the backlight pouring in over her head. But I do have to say, I'm being incredibly picky about this. And in fact, I have noticed a big improvement in a certain aspect of portrait mode. And that's on images where there are spaces between that need to be blurred. So don't mind the non-model subject of this photo, but this was a shot I snapped on the front camera in portrait mode. And Pixel 6a is doing a really great job of rendering that blur in the space between my arm and head here. This is a really tricky thing to master actually, and it did it well consistently every time. So that's a big improvement that I've noticed and a big win for this camera. And portrait mode on Pixel 6a, of course, comes with the additional editing capabilities we know and love, like blur and portrait light. Now, I've talked a lot about these before, but here's a quick refresher. Once you've snapped your portrait, head to Edit, then select Tools. Here you can tap on Portrait Light and you'll be given a little circle that you can drag around and place anywhere you want on your image. So if you need more light on the left, you can do that. Plus there's an auto mode, so if you don't know what you're doing, just tap on auto and it'll set it for you. You can also tap on blur and increase or decrease the blur on a sliding scale. Now, just like portrait mode, real tone is not something that's new to Pixel 6a, but it has seen improvements in the camera quality. Because keep in mind, traditionally, cameras were really configured to take photos and videos of white skin. Talk about lack of inclusivity. But with real tone, over 15 times more portraits of people of color were added to the HDR+ database that informs Pixel camera tuning. The main camera captures more light for rich, vivid colors and more detail. There are improved auto white balance and auto exposure algorithms to help recognize all faces and preserve skin tones. So now you can more accurately capture the true tone of more people's skin, from darker to lighter and everything in between. Real tone really allows for more richness and detail and true to color images. There's also better face detection in the camera, and it's gonna work with Snapchat and other third-party camera apps. So now let's quickly go over the ultra-wide camera. Last year, I was really blown away with the 5A, and then also 6 Pro blew me out of the water too. So that's very much what I was expecting here from the 6A. And I'm happy to say I have not been disappointed. I've snapped just a few different shots on ultra-wide on Pixel 6a, and you'd be hard-pressed to tell much of a difference really between the 5A and 6A. And frankly, you'd be hard-pressed to even tell much of a difference between 6A and 6 Pro. I love the ultra-wide. I feel like you can get a bit more dramatic or artsy without even really trying. And it's really nice to be able to have this caliber of shots with a phone at this price point. All right, the next feature we have to put to the test is super res zoom. You can crank it up to 7 times zoom on Pixel 6a. So I snapped a few different shots here, and I have to say, Pixel 6a does a pretty good job. I find the subjects are still clear. So as an example, I've got like an older iPhone 11 Pro that can zoom further than Pixel 6a, but I snapped the same shot on 7 times zoom on each, and Pixel 6a is night and day more crisp and clear. And I realized that's like comparing apples to oranges a little bit. So then I decided to compare the 6a with my Pixel 6 Pro. And I do have to say, it really holds up. So when you think about Pixel 6a, it does not have the same telephoto lens and zoom capabilities as 6 Pro. But that makes it all the more impressive. And yes, this is just a random zoom in on my Habs water bottle. Deal with it. But you can see Pixel 6 Pro is obviously providing more crisp detail on the 7 times zoom. But again, it's not really a fair comparison. Given the price point of the 6a and the fact that it doesn't have a telephoto lens, I'm all the more impressed. Because remember, it's most likely that you're not coming from a Cadillac and moving into a Gremlin. You're probably coming from a Gremlin and moving into a really nice, reliable Toyota Camry. You feel me? You are not a Gremlin. You are a delight, you are beautiful, and you are worthy. Super Res Zoom also allows you to capture better night sight photos. So night sight is something I have loved since Pixel 5a, and happy to report, still a thing of beauty on Pixel 6a. So here's a random picture of Poppy in my closet of all places, and there is only a little natural daylight streaming in from the door. Pixel 6a had no problem brightening up this picture, making it look nearly as well lit as my daytime pics of her. So then here's Poppy outside a little after dusk. And again, nice lighting that doesn't really change the colorization of the image. And for good measure, I tried to snap another picture of Poppy after dark. She kept moving, so don't mind how horrible this photo is. But once again, the image is rendered beautifully. Now, night sight works on both pictures and videos in Snapchat, but guess what? The Google gods are bringing this capability to Instagram and TikTok. Now that is breaking news. Now, something else I loved on Pixel 6 Pro that has come to Pixel 6a is Face Unblur. So keep in mind, this is not a new mode, it's just something that's now available on a less expensive model, thanks again to the powerful processing of Google Tensor. So it's using machine learning to unblur faces in low light or with too much movement. So here's how this works. The pixel sensors are scanning the scene for faces before you even take the photo. That way, if a face is blurry, it gears up a second camera to get ready to snap a shot as well. So when you snap the photo, it's actually taking two images simultaneously, one from the ultra-wide camera and one from the main camera. The ultra-wide camera is using faster exposure to minimize that blur. Then Google's machine learning fuses the sharper face from the ultra-wide with the low noise shot from the main camera, and voila. Even in a photo where I'm jumping, my face is completely sharp and unblurred. And if that wasn't good enough, it'll analyze the photo for any other bits and adjust those as necessary. So how cool is this? I fell in love with this feature on 6 Pro, and I'm so glad it's available on 6A thanks to Tensor. Again, another huge win. All right, if you've watched any of my other videos on Pixel 6 Pro, you will know that I was and still am mind blown by Magic Eraser. And I'm happy to say Magic Eraser is available on Pixel 6A as well. But there's also a new feature that comes along with Magic Eraser, which I will talk about in just a second. As you might know, you can access Magic Eraser from a photo you just snapped or any photo in Google Photos. So grab your photo you want to edit and tap on Edit, scroll to Tools, and then here you're going to have the Magic Eraser option. Simply tap on that, and if there's any obvious distractions, you're going to have suggestions for those in your photo, so you'll have the option to erase all at once, or just tap to remove one by one. And if you don't have suggestions, you can still remove whatever you want. Simply circle it or draw a line over the distraction to make it disappear. When this first came out last year, I thought it was really good, but even Google admitted it wasn't quite up to their expectations. After having used Magic Eraser for, I don't know, like a year now, I can say it just keeps getting better and better with each update. It still blows my mind that this is even a thing we can do with our photos. Because remember, you can use Magic Eraser on any of your photos, whether you took them just now with a new Pixel device or years ago with some other device. I know. So in case I haven't made it clear, Pixel 6a is doing just as good a job at erasing unwanted things out of my photos as Pixel 6 Pro. What a delight. But wait, there's more. There's an all new feature on Pixel 6a found in Magic Eraser that you might have noticed, and it's called Camouflage. And it's set to be used for those times when you don't necessarily want to get rid of an object in your photo, but you just want to hide it and make it blend in with its surroundings a little bit more. Yes, really. The camouflage feature was designed to reduce distractions in your photos. So again, we're gonna edit a photo and we'll head back to Tools. Again, let's tap on Magic Eraser, but this time, let's tap on Camouflage. Here, just like Magic Eraser, either use the suggestions or circle or brush, whatever it is that you want to camouflage. And just like that, the wizardry that is Google Tensor and Pixel 6a camera will automatically change the color of that object to better blend in with the scene. Are you kidding me right now? Like, how? And this new feature not only works on Pixel 6a, but it is now available on Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro as well. So if you are on one of those devices and you don't see the camouflage option yet, just make sure your camera app is up to date. Cause it's a what? A game changer. So now for my final verdict. Do I think the Pixel 6a camera is good? Yes. Do I think it's better than Pixel 6 Pro camera? No, but you're also comparing a budget phone to a flagship phone. So next question would be, do I think this is a really great camera for the money? Absolutely. I'd even argue it's a better camera than a lot of high-end phones. Yeah, I said it. Although portrait mode isn't necessarily insanely good, I'm really impressed with how it rendered the blur in some tricky spots. I'm also impressed with super res zoom. I think it provided better focus and clarity than honestly I expected. And although the ultra wide camera is only 12 megapixels, I think it does a really nice job given that bigger sensor. With literally just pointing and shooting, the images produced are really good. Like, I really have to nitpick this camera to knock it. Truly. Couple all of that with things, you know, like real tone, face unblur, that manual auto white balancing, Magic Eraser, and camouflage. And come on, show me a better camera at this price point. Go on, I'll wait. And if you remember from the beginning of this video, none of these images have been edited. I just took Pixel 6a straight out of the box and started shooting photos. Now there are a lot of other features I didn't even touch on in this video, like panorama, manual white balancing, top shot, which I absolutely love, live HDR+, and more, but we would be here all day if I gushed about every single feature. So if you want a complete feature list, I have linked to that in the description below. And remember, if you want to learn more about Google Tensor or a complete Pixel 6a review, I've got that linked in the description as well. This has been fun, but now I'm going back to play with the Pixel 6a camera just a little bit more. So what do you think of the Google Pixel 6a camera? Let everyone know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, well, I want to know. So give it a like, a share, or leave that comment below. You can click right about here to subscribe to my channel, and here for even more Pixel content. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.